What's going on, guys? Welcome back to True Secret Nation. As always, I really appreciate you guys for tuning into my videos here. Okay, doing some more works for Heavenly Father. All praise to the Most High God of Israel today. All right, as I ask that Spirit continue to take control. Praise the Semaim and praise the Serene, guys. Okay, the archangels in the heavens, man. And I'm just out here staring. I just got done from a little short, beautiful walk. Okay, trying to shed some light on and shine some light and get some positivity. In the midst of being in a kind of, admittedly, man, just a really bad area, man. And it's all due to Heavenly Father that we've been able to survive. This is the Most High God of Israel, man. Yah does not play with this stuff, man. We're able to stand strong, and if we go and live according to the Bible, that doesn't mean we're not going to make mistakes, but if we are striving to live a righteous life and we live according to the Bible, according to God's laws, then so much can be had, and we can be able to stand strong and firm against things that are happening to us, man. Things that a lot of times people, guys, I'm telling you, man, if you go to church and you believe in, you need to check on what God that church is going with, man. You need to be, you need to be, and I say you need to be, right? But I mean, you have your free will, but I'm talking about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. This is Yah, okay, our Creator. Okay, the true living God. This is why I talk about Mother Earth. I talk about Spirit. Okay, all of these things are in the Bible. Okay, guys, and 1 John chapter 5, it talks about connecting with the Word, the Father, and the Spirit. This is why I keep saying thank you, Spirit. Okay, and things like that. Okay, nobody's crazy. Nobody's doing none of this other kind of stuff. It's just about helping you guys understand, right? Spirit has helped me. Spirit has been with me. Okay, again, I'm not doing this on my own. I will never take credit for all of this on my own, because it's not just me. Okay, we've learned so much, okay, and still learning, right? It's a never-ending learning journey, man. But we comply with what Heavenly Father wants us to do, okay. And so a lot of the time, man, I tell you, we have to stand strong against darkness, man. Okay, because that's a lot of times what we deal with. Not all the time is it guns and knives and all this other kind of stuff in the physical. I mean, this is all what we struggle not against flesh and blood, man. But see, the problem is that people are not aware that you don't struggle against flesh and blood, and this is where it gets caught up, and then you get trapped in the matrix prison. There's a difference between a spiritual prison and a matrix prison. Almost the same thing as eating healthy according to the nation, right? And then eating healthy according to the matrix, and then eating healthy according to God's law, Heavenly Father's law. Okay, and you may be asking, what in the world do I mean by that, man? When you're so a lot of the times when you're eating healthy within the matrix, there's certain things you can, like salad and stuff like that, the basics with the ranch dressing, with some of the shit, they got preservatives in there that mess us up. Okay, you may go and get a Snickers bar at night and stuff like that, and all this. See, guys, I'm gonna tell you something right now. When you are with Heavenly Father, you gotta can this candy, man. You gotta get rid of all of that garbage. That's all processed food. That's not gonna do anything for you. That's gonna limit you on your journey. Even if it's every now and then. Even every now and then, man, you gotta get rid of it, man. You can't do that. You can't eat any of that shit. Okay, you have to get rid of it completely. Okay, there is no, you can't, and look, I've been there, right? I was in, there was a time when they got me, McDonald's sandwich, stuff like that, and shit like that, but I tell you, man, you gotta be careful with this stuff, okay? We can't be, get distracted with a lot of this matrix food, because a lot of this stuff is the state that Cypher is talking about within the Matrix movie. Okay, this is why I keep talking about the Matrix. Okay, and I already know that I'm hated and all this and that, and that's all right, man. I know that Heavenly Father and Spirit have been with me, And see, that's all, in the word, man. And I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of the situations that we in and the prisons that we are in are really fucked up, man. Just to be frank with you. And this is why I keep doing this, and I won't stop doing it. Even though I might leave the area that I'm at. I told you guys I was, there was a period in time where I kept trying to rip and run to get a nice background. Okay, but see, we're there's things. I mean, there ain't no point in ripping and running trying to get a nice background and then gonna come back to the same bullshit. So this is why, it's just standing strong temporarily. Okay, and we are called to suffer and endure, man. I know a lot of the times, things may look bleak and negative. You know what I mean? You may think that I'm some kind of whack job. Oh, he doesn't care if he's being evicted. He doesn't care if he's homeless. Who cares about that, man? You have the helmet of salvation. You have Heavenly Father, which you don't have to worry about that. We're taken care of. Our provisions will be taken care of. Okay, we don't worry about none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Even as I speak right now, this is why I'm telling you, man. I already know that I'm surveilled. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you guys gotta ignore it, and we gotta continue to keep going, man. Ignore it in a different kind of sense. That doesn't mean just keep quiet about it. A lot of the times, all of the stuff that we deal with is to distract us, man. It's distract us from reading the Word, okay? And so this is why I do share certain scriptures, man. But you know what? It's very dangerous because a lot of us are being studied. A lot of us are being literally studied, man. And so why do you guys think the Bible is written a certain way, man? Okay, this is why I said there's no point in reading the Bible if you don't pray and you don't connect with Heavenly Father. Because then, guys, the Bible is designed to stumble even the most wisest men. This is the Creator. He created us. So obviously, even it doesn't matter how smart you are, you come from somewhere. You're created. So it's specifically designed, even though I know you're the smartest person in the world and sit in your study, it doesn't matter. Okay? This is why I said you don't doubt the power of Heavenly Father, man. You have to be strong with this. Okay? This is what we do, and when we talk about here at True Secret Nation, I love doing these videos for you, man. And we have to continue to stay strong. Alright? You see, Yah has been my rock. You see, when we clarify, man, we don't just be talking about no God, because, Yah warns about, there is so many false gods and idol worship. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and say this one more time and get you guys a perspective, guys. Egyptians, Norse, Greeks, all of these different, societies have had so many different gods, man. Okay, so Zeus, Athena, all of this stuff, that's Greek gods. Then you have the Egyptian gods and goddesses, and then you have the Norse gods and goddesses. Guys, all of this throughout time, see, this is exactly what the true living God, Heavenly Father, warns about, against idolatry and false idol worship. Because a lot of these things, you got to take the time to understand this stuff and how it comes into play. People just by default want to worship an Egyptian god or whatever it is just because they know by default or it's the cool thing to do, and because they get validation from another group or somebody else. This is why a lot of people do witchcraft, okay, and join the occult, okay. And it's very sad, man. It really is how it's really sad on how normalized. This is why I keep talking about the last days, man. It's really sad how normalized all this stuff is, and because we go against witchcraft, we're not cool, Hell no, I don't want to be cool according to the devil's world. I mean, what the hell is this, man? I mean, see, this is why this all comes back to coming back and understanding where you're at, man. I mean, you can't, you do all that stuff. All that's going to do is cause you more problems. And people wonder why you get depressed, take all these pills and everything else, because you're leaning on earthly knowledge. You're leaning on, you think you're hot and, hot stuff and doing all the witchcraft and occult and stuff, but then, a lot of the times people be rocking and doing all the witchcraft and occult and rocking some McDonald's and stuff. I mean, like, your body is not, you're not sufficiently nourishing your body. Okay, the witchcraft and McDonald's combination. Okay, you can't do that, man. I'm not saying every single witch eats McDonald's all the time, but damn, You know, it's just about recognizing a lot of these things, and you just gotta eat healthy. You know, you gotta eat according to God's law. Okay. You know, I already know. A lot of I already know there's a lot of witches that hate me, man, and that's okay. It's good to be toiled by this world. We're supposed to call out these things, man. You know, because I know what's been going on with me. I know what we've been enduring, and I'm proud to endure for Heavenly Father, man. You know, we had to come on there, and we come hard sometimes. A lot of people don't know he's saying all the bad language and all of that. See, people are, society and the world we live in has been manipulated, man. You know, people are not the same anymore, and it really makes me sad. People are not the same. There's so much garbage, all these frequencies surrounding us all over the place, surrounded by screens all day. Okay, not taking the time to just get away from some of that stuff. Okay, I'm coming at you through a screen and camera, right? You know, I do this because Heavenly Father has given me the ability to. Okay, and we continue to keep doing this, man. You know, it's a short and sweet one. You know, we just got done doing a little thing talking about, enduring satanic ritual abuse. Okay, you know, and a lot of these things are designed to kill us, man. It's designed to not only kill us, but they attempt to kill our spirit, man. Okay, they attempt to kill our spirit in a way where we're not able to recognize and understand the reality of the situation. You know what I mean? So that's why I come on here and we expose this stuff. We talk about demons and all this other kind of stuff, man. You know, because you got to call that out. You have to be careful with that. You know, you don't get into bed with demons, man. You can't do that. Okay, you can't get into bed with demons, man, because what's going to happen is it's going to cause a lot of issues and problems. Okay, so this is why Heavenly Father is here and warns us about the devil and his minions, man. That's all. So, you know what, guys? It's going to be the end of today's, we're going to start wrapping up, because I just want to give it, a quick little short and sweet one. I just got done from a walk, and it's time to, get some energy here, a lot of get some energy, attempt to try and rest up. But a lot of this stuff, man, you see, a lot of the times it's not, y'all don't want us to be comfortable in these, spots that we think are going to save us and think that is good for us, man. I mean, look at a lot of people sleep on these shitty ass beds all the time and bitch and complain about why they got a whole bunch of back problems and muscle aches and all this other kind of stuff. You got to be careful with this stuff, man. You got to be aware of this, man. A lot of these beds is all fucked up and sloshed up and all sunken in and shit, and then you're waking up and sleeping 5 to 6 hours at a time with your shit all arched and curved, and you get up in the morning and it's like, damn, what is going on with my back? Well, maybe, dude, I'm telling you, man, there's actually, from what I've been led on to talk about, is there's actually some benefits of just laying on the ground instead of a damn bed all the time. It may be more comfortable sometimes, but damn, you can really mess yourself up if you sleep on a bed. If where you're sleeping is bad, man. I'm telling you. And I'm learning that myself the hard way, man. A lot of this stuff you talking about, people don't want to sleep on the ground and stuff, but damn, you rather sleep on the ground, something decently hard, just put something, like a blanket or something, versus a damn mattress that gets sunken in over time, and then your shit starts getting arched and curved. You know what I mean? I mean, this is bad, man. Holy shit. I'm telling you, man, you just got to be able to notice and have the awareness of these little small things, man. You don't know how that's affecting you on a day-to-day basis. You wonder why. It's like, damn, sometimes you wonder, why in the hell am I hurting worse when I lay down than when I stand up? Well, maybe it's because you're laying on a garbage-ass mattress. Okay, that's what I'm saying, man. So it's all about recognizing that, it's having awareness and taking care of your muscles, taking care of yourself. That's all. Guys, don't get the wrong idea. Of course, Heavenly Father wants us to be healthy. Okay, I keep saying that, and I've said that over the course of my videos. Heavenly Father wants us to be healthy. Okay, but see, healthy by way of the nation is not always the answer. People be seeking to get all these steroids and all this other kind of stuff. Why do you need all of that, man? Why do you need it? Okay, you don't. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having some big ass muscles and shit, and you working out and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you start doing all this additional stuff and the injections and stuff, you got to be careful with that, man, because that's gonna cause a lot of problems and stuff that Heavenly Father did not design. See, and then you're gonna start running into some stuff that it's not gonna be good, man. I've never taken any kind of stuff like that. I've never done no hard drugs. Okay, shrooms. I guess you can consider that hard, but I didn't even do a lot of that. That was only briefly, right? That was only one little small thing. That was like years ago. But mainly it's marijuana and dude, that's not I would argue again. I say that's not a drug. I mean, like, now what can happen is some of this stuff you get on the street with the marijuana, that's bad, because then there's stuff that's laced. Okay, there's stuff that's laced, and then it can make you feel like garbage, man. It can make you feel like something is terribly wrong, man. But I actually was able to get a decent little experience ordering something online. You know what I mean? You just got to be careful of what vendor you get it from. Of course, the best way to always do it is to just do it yourself, right? You do it the old-fashioned way. Grow it, you know what I'm saying? And grow it your own shit. That's the best way to do it. And you enjoy it, and you have to be reasonable with it. You have to know how to use that stuff. That was such a really interesting topic, man, because marijuana is not specifically named in the Bible. But you can come to the conclusion that Yah has created every herb sowing seed. So marijuana is a seed, is it not? So then you plant it and grow it just like any other kind of food plant. You just have to know how to use it, and you have to be careful with it. Okay? That's why I mentioned smoking by way of the nation. Okay? Just like you can eat by way of the nation. Okay? People be waking and baking, smoking all day and drowned out and all of this. You can't do that, man, because it's gonna start backfiring. It's gonna start backfiring on you. Okay, you gotta be in. This is why people can still enjoy marijuana without being connected with Heavenly Father. But when you are connected with Heavenly Father, so much more and greater joy can be had. Okay, so guys, this is gonna be the end of this video. Okay, I really appreciate you guys' time here at Truth Seeker Nation. Okay. And I love it, man. We're going to keep it short and brief, okay? Because we're not going to go into too much detail, not going to do any of that stuff, alright? Until, and don't get me wrong, okay? We're going to continue to mention more about the Great Reset, but this is just kind of another, encouraging message, man. I love talking about the Great Reset and exposing darkness in the world, man. I like talking about this stuff. You may think that it's negative, but it's not negative. It's exposing the darkness, man. We are called to do this. Okay? We're called to do this. People don't like it when you expose this stuff, but it is what it is, man. You got to learn the truth. You got to learn the truth through your world, because there's a lot more than what's being told. There's a lot more. Okay? So stay strong, guys. Stand firm. All right? And if you want to know more about the Great Reset, we got a series talking about the Great Reset Chronicles. Okay, and well, that's what I call it. It's more going more into specifics about this. The reset of America. Okay, and I tell you, man, there's something that this is why I keep telling you guys, get prepared, man. Okay, so I love you guys a lot, man, and Heavenly Father loves you. Stay tuned for more Great Reset talk. Okay. And you continue to stay strong. Just wanted to come on here and mention some other things, and I thank Spirit for guiding my words, and it's all praise to the Most High God of Israel, man. Okay, it's all praise. All right, check out the WAP-sided mattress, man. Check that shit out. Sometimes you gotta flip it over. Sometimes you gotta do whatever it is, man, because some of that stuff really messes you up on a subliminal level that you don't realize, man. Okay. Yeah, I know you're from, what the hell does a mattress say? And we over here talking about a whole bunch of other kind of things, man. But guys, this is gonna be it. Thank you for tuning in to Truth Seeker Nation. You guys take care, man. This is Truth Seeker signing out. Have a heavenly, divinely blessed day. You guys take care. Bye bye.